Greetings from sunny Tampa, Florida. More precisely, greetings from my C5 Z06 with a big old cam in it. I've got some things I want to do today. Man, I wish you could hear that. It sounds so good in here. Just Tasmanian devil on crack kind of sound. Anyway, I've got big plans for today. We're going to stop at the beach on the way home. I'm not talking like St. Pete Beach or Clearwater Beach, just the one that's on the side of the road, and I'm going to give you an update on what's going on. You see, it occurred to me, I've never really told you guys much about me, where I live, what I do, and all that kind of stuff, so I'm going to sit down here and have a little lunch and tell you about the various cars and that kind of stuff. We'll give you a rundown on what's going on. This place is called The Getaway. Been here for a long time. Sits right back here in kind of the mangrove area right off Gandy Beach. If you were to continue straight up that direction, you'll go out across the bridge and then wind up in Tampa. I'm technically in St. Pete right now, but just right on the water. Mangroves back through here. Sometimes you'll see manatees and dolphins back in there. You'll also see people cruising along. I don't know if you can make out these guys over here or not. But cruising along. That's a lot of fun to do too. The water out here is really shallow where I'm sitting. But a beautiful day, man. It just does not get much better than this.
Here you are, my friend.
Sweet.
Little water action, yingling.
Well, it's not calamari yet, but that's a pretty good start of calamari up in the house. And that quickly, I'm back out on the road again. I'm going to drive home and show you a couple of the cars and vehicles and stuff. Motorcycles and trucks and things, so let's do that. That right over there is Gandy Beach. Like I said, it's not one of our big tourist destinations, but on a day like this, it's the kind of place you can just take a lunch break and come down here and hang out by the water, have a big time. This bridge is about 3.5 miles long. A lot of our bridges have to be really long here because they're crossing pretty substantial expanses of water. But you see, even on lunch break, people out here just having fun, hanging out. Now let's get back to talking about the cars. First one we're going to show you is the Hummer H2. The H2 was kind of a weird thing, a weird time, because GM had obviously bought Hummer. And the original Humvee was this huge diesel monstrosity that, in all honesty, it's a little too military for the average person to like to drive. It's very wide, barely fits in a lane. It has this big divider between the seats, and it's just this crazy. The more you look into them, they're insane, and they really are, in the truest sense, a military vehicle. Very capable, but when you break one, it's incredibly expensive. And then you had the H2, which was available 03 to 09. It was basically partially a Suburban, partially a Tahoe, partially a pickup. A 6-liter gasoline engine with a 4L60E transmission. The later one's got a little bigger engine, a little better transmission. But then you had the H3, which in my eyes was basically a glorified Chevy Colorado. Had the much smaller engine, and it was kind of a mid-size SUV, nothing fantastic. So it seemed to me, being a Chevy guy, having had lots of Corvettes with the LS engines in them, and Trans Ams and various trucks and stuff, this H2 seemed to make perfect sense. However, it's really different from a pickup truck in a lot of ways. One way, this thing is all-wheel drive, which, when you're living in Florida, I'm not really sure why you need all-wheel drive. And it affects the gas mileage in a horrendous way. This truck, no exaggeration, me driving it very sedately, I don't drive it fast because it's not fast. I get 9.1 miles per gallon. It may hurt it a little bit because I have a set of 22-inch rims on it, and a slight lift kit, like a 3-inch, but it's horrendous gas mileage, absolutely terrible. But you're not going to see many like it out on the road. And when you do, you know, it's kind of like if you're driving some old classic car and somebody drives the other way and they're in one, everybody always waves. But it's also not a truck in the respect that you don't have a bed. You have a pretty luxurious interior. You have a nice setup where, let's say, 5 adults can sit and ride pretty comfortably. All the seats are heated and power, all the normal stuff, OnStar. It's got these really cool setups where you can make it so the differentials lock in. So if you're off-road doing crazy stuff, but I drive mine in the city 99.8% of the time, almost all the time. But the 4L60E that I told you was in there earlier, I got to tell you one thing. That's not even GM's heavy-duty transmission. That's the one that would have been in like a V6 Silverado or a 4.8 or 5.3. It's not a heavy-duty transmission. And this Hummer is heavy. I mean, it's heavy. So when I first got this, started having an issue with the transmission immediately, like pretty much every owner of an H2 experiences. I did a little research and discovered that a 4L80E with a little bit of tweaking here and there could be used in this application. So I did a series right here on YouTube, how to swap out a 4L80E into a Hummer H2. I'll be the first to say it. This is the most off-roading this truck has ever done. I also upgraded a couple things though. If you see inside there, see the fan up there. There's a transmission cooler down inside here, and there's also one up behind there too. I don't know why, but I got a little motivated parking it on that little mound right there. I felt like I should take the Hummer off-roading. This is the most off-roading this vehicle has done in its life. It's been used in city situations. Matter of fact, I'm not even going by that branch right there because this has really sweet paint on it. So I'm backing up. It looks pretty cool like that though, right? Shouldn't that be my thumbnail? I think that's gonna be my thumbnail. Now, once again, this is the absolute most off-roading this vehicle has ever done in its lifetime. Yeah, the H2 is happy to be back on its home territory, asphalt that's very smooth. I know a lot of you guys are probably saying, Sean, that's a big old crazy truck. You should drive over stuff. You're a poser. I did a lot of that stuff when I was younger, broke a lot of drive shafts, leaf springs, that kind of stuff, engines, transmissions, flattened a 40-inch tire when I was about 3 miles from anybody else. That sucked. But the one thing I can say is that this truck, the body, the underside and everything is beautiful on this truck. Being a Florida truck, there is not a single hint, not even a discoloration that will one day turn into rust. It's flawless, man. And, you know, I'm just going to keep it that way. I don't feel the need. If I'm going to go off-roading, I have an older Jeep too, I'll take that. This one's all about cruising and looking like I'm fixing to make a rap video. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, this is Sean we're talking about here. I wonder what that Hummer does in the quarter mile. He's a gearhead. He knows the quarter mile time and mile per hour and 60 foot of every vehicle he's ever owned. That is until this one. This is the most astoundingly slow vehicle that I've ever had. Like, I'm gonna come to a stop right here, pull my leg back. It's been floored a long time. There's 40. I just get depressed when I do that. That's why I don't do it. A really motivated toddler could smoke the Hummer. Honorable mention goes to my girlfriend. in her Trans Am WS6 convertible in light pewter. This one I'm going to have to issue a brief apology. I know it's dirty under here, but I drive this every day, dudes. It's an LS6 because it's a Z06, and it's got the 243 heads, which come on them. Those are stock. But it's got a different cam in it now, which is a 238, 242 degrees of duration and 595, 595 lift, respectively, intake and exhaust. Got a BBK throttle body. It's got headers, couple other little things like that. This one will be getting nitrous on it, but it doesn't have it on there yet. I already have all the kit. It's like 150 shot it's going to get. But this one's just a driver. I mean, it gets driven every single day of my life, but besides that, it's got all the typical supporting stuff that you would put in an engine, you know, when you're doing a cam and stuff. So all that stuff, you know, the upgraded trunnion rockers and things like that. All the Z06s and C5s come with 6-speed, so this one's obviously a 6-speed. Other than that, it's stock. I'm gonna go show you the other one now. Remember I was talking about my girlfriend being cool? That's hers too. It's a low mile Vista Blue factory 5-speed car, but this one is my other one. This one, while it's a convertible and an automatic, which is mostly boring to most people, this one actually has the most stuff done to it. The cam is a little bit smaller. It's a 224, 230, 581, 588. But this one has ported heads and a BBK throttle body. It's got headers, Lingenfelter headers, and Borla exhaust. This one has all the supporting stuff just like the other one does, but this one ran an 1181 at 119 without the nitrous. And as you can see, that's the same kit that's going to be going on the Z06. Like I said, this one's an automatic, but it's got really nice guts in the transmission. It's also a 2600 stall, so runs really well. I like this one. By the way, this is a 2003. Let's move on to my baby. Now, at the time I recorded this, as you could tell by the still photos, I was not around it. It's kept at another location and didn't have time to get over there, already dark outside. So this is a 1931 Ford Model A Roadster, and it's got a 355 cubic inch small block Chevy, Eagle cranking rod, Speed Pro pistons, Summit cam kit. It has aluminum aftermarket heads from Jegs. On top of the engine there, 3 original 8BA style carburetors that would have come on a flathead V8 back in the 40s and 50s. It's got a Muncie M21 transmission out of a 65 Corvette. The rear end is a 31 spline Posi 9-inch Ford with a 4-bar. Also, if you look inside there, there's a 1940 Ford steering wheel and column. The dash is 32 Ford. As we get back on the outside here, we have painted steel wheels off of a 49 Chevy that used to have little clips to hold the center cap of the hubcap. Those were ground down and the wheel was welded back in and painted this tan color. The tires are from Coker. The grill shell and grill are 1932 Ford. The split bones under the car came off of a 1939 Ford, and they've been separated in the middle, so, you know, for better handling in the curves and stuff like that. It's got a Super Bell 4-inch drop front axle under there, and just too many other things to mention. It's been a blast. I've had it together for about 15 years, totally hand-built. Every single bit of the body is steel, and it's also got a California tilt, which is where you get the body and cut it so it sits down over the frame, but you angle it higher and higher as it goes toward the back. So the back of the body sits on the frame and the front of the body sits down kind of even with the bottom of the frame rail, if that makes any sense. But I'll be doing a video on this car all by itself sometime in the future here, because there's just too much that's been built by hand, because the whole car was. And I hope you'll like that in the future. In the meantime, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe.
and we'll be featuring that 1931 Ford Model A Roadster very soon.